All right, hello everybody, Ignatius Jackson CPA here with another exciting video for you. So I'm over here in snowy Flagstaff, Arizona. We had some snow here in the last week and decided to come on up and check it out, do a little video in the snow. So we're in the background there is Snow Bowl. It's a mountain here in Arizona where people go to ski and snowboard and all that good stuff. And so pretty cool. So just wanted to chat about a little bit more about kind of the markets and kind of the Trump tariffs and everything that's kind of going on out there. Just wanted to make sure everybody knows that, it's just chill out a little bit, calm down. Everything will be all right. Everything's going to be all right. There's a lot going on right now. Markets are in turmoil. You got Bitcoin today. This is Sunday that I'm recording this. Bitcoin actually dropped below 80,000 again. So everyone's like, oh, the sky's falling apart. The futures are looking like the stock market will be down another 5% maybe on Monday. You got Jim Cramer saying that Black Monday could be happening tomorrow, where the stock market might be down like 20-30% in one day. I don't see all that happening, but I could be wrong. I mean, nobody really knows for sure. But at the same time, just keep in mind, we've had tremendous growth over the last 5 years, really in the last 2 or 3 years. That growth in the last 2 or 3 years has been propped up by incessant government spending, okay? They were on a spending spree. They spent wildly, especially in the last 5 months, last 2 months of the Biden administration after they lost the election. They spent a lot of money, guys. So that money created the inflation that we're all dealing with. It also kept the economy propped up, right? Jobs were created in the government, too many jobs, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many people. And so we're trying to right-size the government. I think that's the way I look at what they're doing with the Trump administration right now. They're just trying to right-size the government, and I just want you to just take a little time, just a little woosah from Bad Boys, a little woosah. So just kind of rub your, take a little chill pill. You'll be fine. Everything will be all right. Okay. So there's always a good story and a silver lining in any tragedy, right? And so one of the things I want you to think about is there are some stocks out there that might actually be some good buys right now. Okay, we've had Vietnam come out and say that they want to go to 0% tariffs if the U.S. drops their tariffs. All right, we got the Philippines coming out and saying something similar. We got Cambodia, I believe, that also came out. So, and then I think recently today, there was another Asian country that also kind of jumped on board there, okay? I forget the name of it off the top of my head, I apologize. But these are all places where there's a decent amount of manufacturing happening, okay? Since there's a decent amount of manufacturing happening, Taiwan. Taiwan was the other country that today came out and said that they want to go to 0% tariffs. So it is working, right? One component of these tariffs is there are some countries that want to have fair trade, and so they will institute policies that will get us there. And I think, China's acting like they don't want to participate right now. But I think at the end of the day, they're probably going to have to, because you're going to have companies go ahead and move more of their operations over to Vietnam and Taiwan and some of these other places that are willing to, be more fair with the trade. And so I think it's going to end up, in the end, I think all will be okay. There's going to be some choppy waters here in the early days. Okay, I get that. I know people are upset about the approach that we took. When I say we, I mean the Trump administration, right? I'm not a part of the Trump administration, but there's, in general, our country, the approach that we're taking right now, because they're the leaders of the country, right? So I use the royal we. But basically, I think that a lot of people are upset about how we're going about some of this stuff. But I think in theory, people realize that we needed to do it. The problem is we've been talking about this for years, people, years. Clinton talked about it. Obama talked about it. I mean, there's a lot of people who have talked about government waste and the fact that we have unfair trade. In fact, the Democrats used to talk about the unfair trade all the time. And then all of a sudden, when Trump starts to talk about it and tries to actually do something about it, now the Democrats are completely against it. I don't understand it. and we also have some Republicans that are also acting like they're against it for some reason. So we've got a lot of problems that are kind of happening that with this whole process, and people are not having a little faith. Have some faith. All right. I think the Biden administration did a lot of crap that people were complaining about, but they were still allowed to do it for the most part. There's a few things that they got stopped in their tracks on, right? But in a lot of cases, they were trying to spend more money, okay? We're trying to spend less money or raise revenue for the country. Those are two different things, right? And a lot of people are like, well, you need Congress to approve the tariffs. Presidents have been imposing tariffs on countries for years, all right? Congress has pretty much delegated that authority to the president over time. I mean, whether through actual legal legislation or just by not taking action, right? And so I think it's customary that the presidents do set the tariffs. That is something that they typically do. And so that's perfectly fine. I don't think there's an issue with that. And, we have to come to the realization that, obviously some of this is probably going to be fought in court. Who knows what's going to happen there. But I think all in all, it should be fine. Okay, so let's go back to the markets. All right, so the markets are likely going to be down again. Take a look at some of these, some stocks that might be good. Okay, and I'm going to do another video where I kind of throw in some of the charts and stuff like that. And I'll probably wait till maybe Monday or Tuesday so we can have the declines of those couple days. But if you look at what's happened with some of the markets, you got places like Nike, or companies like Nike, where some other Deckers, footwear, I think, in apparel, right? There's some other companies, Apple, that have some production over in Vietnam and Taiwan that are, getting hurt by some of these tariffs, or will be hurt by these tariffs. Nothing's really happened yet, but it's going to happen in the near future here. So they're going to be hurt by these tariffs, right? Well, since those countries have started to come and say, oh, well, we'll go ahead and take away our tariffs if you take away yours. I think those stocks, I don't know for sure. Again, not financial advice, people. This video is educational purposes. Just giving you kind of my personal perspective. I think it's very likely that those stocks could see a bump if that does happen. So if you have any of these countries that are impacting some of these stocks substantially because they do a lot of production over there, or they get a lot of their parts or raw materials from there, and we see those countries take away their tariffs, then I think we very well might see that you're going to see a increase in their stock price, given that it went down substantially because of the idea of tariffs, right? So it may be a great buying opportunity come Monday or Tuesday to buy before those official announcements happen. So let's say you got Vietnam and Taiwan. Since they came to the board, they talked to President Trump probably by now, or his team. And let's say that they decide, okay, let's go ahead and take our tariffs off. We'll take your tariffs. The U.S. will take our tariffs off. You take your tariffs off. We'll have completely free trade between our two countries. And those stocks might end up jumping through the roof because now there's a little bit of a silver lining in that story. So you have to do a little research and find some of these stocks that might be out there and gamble a little bit. I mean, everything's going to be a gamble. Don't get me wrong, okay? Trading individual stocks is a gamble. If you don't want to gamble and you don't want to take that risk, then you should just be buying ETFs, all right? Let's just be honest. So go buy, VO or VTI or VUG. Those are all Vanguard ETFs, right? We talked about those in the video the other day, okay? So if you're not a risk taker, then go do that. If you are a risk taker, then it might be a good idea at this point to take some options or to buy actual shares in some of these stocks that very well could see some positive news in the next few days. And so sometimes we overreact without things actually occurring. So a lot of times the markets are trying to forecast the future, even though nothing has actually happened yet that would negatively impact these stocks, okay? But it's going to happen in the next couple of days. Obviously, the tariffs go live on April 9th. And so it will be happening in the next couple of days. If the other countries that have been announced that have tariffs decide not to take some action. And so we just have to, take things with a grain of salt, basically. Try to find that silver lining in the story, right? And I encourage you all to do a little of that research. I'm going to do another video, like I said, next couple days with a few stocks that I've kind of did a little research on personally, and I think might be good options. Again, all educational, not financial advice here, but it's just one of those things like, hey, think about that. Consider it. Is this a buying opportunity? Is it time to buy the dip? When you're down so much in such a short period of time, we all know that the stock market will eventually go back up, but I think a lot of people are trying to figure out how much lower will it go down, and that's sometimes the wrong direction to take. You want to buy a little bit as it's going down. So let's say it's down another 5% on Monday. Buy a portion of it. Let's say you got 5,000, 10,000 to put to work. We'll take like a quarter of that and buy some on Monday. If we go down some more next week, over the next couple of days next week by Wednesday, okay, go ahead and throw another quarter into it. If we keep going down into the coming weeks, okay, go ahead and buy another quarter of something in and throw it in there. Okay, so you just kind of keep that dry powder ready to take some action, and you have to do a little bit of betting. I mean, it's a little bit of gambling, right? Stocks are basically gambling if you think about individual stocks, to be clear. ETFs are pretty safe for the most part, but individual stocks are pretty much gambling, right? You're betting on whether or not that company is going to do well or not, blah, 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 okay? But we have a lot of stocks that are down solely because of tariffs, because we think, oh, this is going to negatively impact the stocks. People aren't going to buy this stuff anymore. People aren't going to buy their Nike clothes. People aren't going to buy their Nike shoes, blah, blah, blah. Or they may not buy as much. I mean, that's kind of the storyline, right? Because it's so expensive now with all these extra tariffs. Sure, maybe to an extent. Will it be so much that the stocks should be down 20, 30%? Probably not. I mean, let's be real. Come on, people. There's a lot of fear mongering going on, I feel like. A lot of people just kind of trying to scare the crap out of people. And unfortunately, I think a lot of those rich people aren't loving this, because I got to tell you, most of the rich people that I know, they're starting to buy, okay? A lot of my clients that have a lot of money, they're starting to buy, right? They're finding stuff. They're finding, like I said, that silver lining, and they're starting to buy some stuff, okay? They're putting some more money into their accounts, and they're getting ready to push it in to the markets, okay? Because they know over the long term, as long as you have a 5 to 10 year time horizon, the stock market's going to go back up, all right? And in fact, if history repeats itself like it has in the last 10 years, 5 to 10 years, then the stock market's going to go up probably on average between 10 and 15% a year, okay? That's the total stock market. If you look at the S&P 500, maybe between 15 and 20% per year. Who knows, okay? The tariffs might have the exact opposite effect that people are thinking, especially when it's paired with tax legislation that will reduce the corporate tax rate for the portion of a company's stocks that is being, earnings that are being produced here in the United States, because they're doing manufacturing in the United States. If we take that tax rate down to 15%, that could increase corporate earnings, okay? So you have to think, again, about the silver lining of everything they're doing. Don't just look at the tariffs in a silo. Think about everything all combined together, all right? If you have more people working, more people creating or getting paid money through new manufacturing jobs that are coming back to the United States. And I heard something that earlier today, people are like, oh, manufacturing is going to take forever to come back. Well, there's a lot of manufacturing that recently left the U.S., okay, to either Mexico or Canada. What if that manufacturing was to come back right away? It's very possible, because they just got rid of that capacity in the last maybe year or two, okay? There's already been a lot, like for example, Stellantis stopped producing the Ram trucks in the USA, and instead they moved it to Mexico, okay? So they could easily bring that production back to the USA and avoid any potential tariffs, all right? So really it's up to Stellantis to determine whether or not they want to avoid the tariffs or not, because they left to go to the Mexico operations trying to save a buck with some cheaper labor, all right? So, and that's wrong. I mean, we shouldn't allow people to go to other countries just to screw over the American citizens and permanent residents that are working here, or other people that have work authorizations in these factories just because it's cheaper for them, okay? So I'm kind of surprised, honestly, that the Democrats aren't on board with some of this stuff, because this is all stuff they've been talking about for years. They've been anti-globalism, anti-corporate greed, and all this other stuff for years, and we're trying to change this around and get this going a different direction, get the American working class built back up, get that middle class built back up, get these people that are in poverty right now up out of poverty by providing opportunities for them to make good money. Manufacturing jobs and jobs in the factories are great money. And so it's better than working at a fast food restaurant in a lot of cases. I mean, anyways, so that's the thoughts for today. This is a little bit longer than I actually anticipated going. I just got onto a little bit of a rant. I apologize. Well, not really. I mean, I think it's needed, right? People need to hear, I think, different perspectives from people that are kind of in the trenches. We hear a lot of talking heads on TV shows, on Fox, CNN, ABC, all those guys, right? But I feel like sometimes you need to hear from somebody that's just kind of in the working class and in the field, doing stuff and talking to my clients about some of this stuff. I mean, a lot of my clients that I've talked to are not freaking out. They're saying, okay, what should I do, Ignatius? What do we need to do to take advantage of all this? They're not saying, should I be selling? They're saying, what do I need to do to take advantage of all this? And that's the right attitude. That's the question you should be asking is, what do I need to do to take advantage of the turmoil that we're seeing in the markets and the tariffs that are going to be coming here? So anyways, that's the thoughts for today. Thanks again from sunny, or actually it is kind of sunny here right now, but also snowy, Snow Bowl, which is in Flagstaff, Arizona. Hope everybody enjoyed this video. I'm going to go enjoy the snow a little bit more, and hope everybody has a good one. Talk to you later. Peace.